Left to freeze, the alien child held her creature tight, until a human gave them hope. The borrowed warmth. The cold was a living thing, gnawing at Taurus's skin through the tears in her thermal wrap. Each breath came as a white cloud that dissipated into the howling wind. 3 days since the raid. 3 days of walking through endless white plains with nothing but the weight of her small companion against her chest to remind her that she wasn't already dead. "Just a little longer, Rez," she whispered to the trembling creature nestled against her. The symbiont was roughly the size of her two hands together, with iridescent scales that normally shimmered with health but now looked dull and lifeless. Its 4 eyes were half closed, conserving energy. Rez chirped weakly, tendrils curling tighter around her wrist. The bond between them had formed when Taurus was just a child. Lintari children were paired with symbionts at birth, a tradition stretching back thousands of years. The connection was supposed to last a lifetime. Now that lifetime might end in ice. The settlement had fallen quickly. The raiders came before dawn, their ships descending without warning. Taurus had been collecting water when the first explosion shook the ground. She'd run toward her family's dwelling only to see it collapse in flames. The screams still echoed in her mind. She'd grabbed Rez and fled, hiding in the hills until the raiders left. When she returned, there was nothing but smoldering ruins and bodies frozen in the sudden cold that followed. Taurus stumbled, her legs finally giving out. She fell to her knees in the snow, the cold instantly seeping through her thin leggings. The wind had dropped momentarily, leaving an eerie silence broken only by her ragged breathing. "I'm sorry," she whispered to Rez, to her dead family, to herself. Her four-fingered hands were turning a dangerous shade of pale blue at the tips. Lintari weren't built for this level of cold. Their homeworld had been temperate, nothing like this frozen colony planet the elders had chosen generations ago. Taurus leaned against what looked like a fallen communications tower, a relic from the early days of colonization. She pulled Rez closer, trying to share what little warmth remained in her body. Her eyelids grew heavy. Just a short rest, she thought. Just a moment to gather strength. The sound came faintly at first, a mechanical whirring that didn't belong to the wind or the creaking ice. Taurus forced her eyes open. A light cut through the twilight gloom, bobbing closer through the falling snow. Fear shot through her veins, temporarily replacing the cold with adrenaline. The raiders returning. She tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't respond. The light grew brighter, illuminating a tall figure trudging through the snow. As it approached, Taurus could make out more details, not the bulky silhouettes of the raiders but a slimmer form in what appeared to be an environmental suit. The figure stopped several meters away, the light from its helmet scanning the area before settling on Taurus. She could see nothing of the person inside, just her own reflection in the darkened visor. "Don't move," the figure said, voice distorted through external speakers but unmistakably masculine. "I'm not going to hurt you." Taurus clutched Rez tighter, the symbiont sensing her fear and chirping in alarm. The figure slowly raised both hands, showing they were empty. "My name is Jurin. I'm a researcher." The helmet depressurized with a soft hiss and retracted, revealing a human face, pale skin, dark eyes, and a beard flecked with gray despite his relatively young appearance. Taurus had seen humans before. They occasionally came to trade at the settlement, but never this close, never alone in the wasteland. "You're freezing to death," Jurin said, his tone matter-of-fact rather than sympathetic. He knelt in the snow, keeping his distance, and pulled a small device from his pack. With a few deft movements, he activated it, and a soft orange glow emanated from its core. Heat, real, wonderful heat, radiated outward. Taurus couldn't help herself. She edged closer. "That's it," Jurin encouraged. "It's a portable thermal generator, military grade." He placed it between them and then unfolded what looked like a thin sheet of silver material. "Thermal blanket. Not much, but it'll help." He tossed it gently so it landed within Taurus's reach. She hesitated, then grabbed it with one hand, awkwardly wrapping it around herself and Rez. "Your settlement?" Duran asked, though his expression suggested he already knew the answer. "Gone," Taurus said, her voice cracking from disuse. 3 days ago." Duran nodded grimly. "The Frost Harvesters, they've been hitting outposts across the sector." "Why?" Taurus asked. "We had nothing valuable." "That's what I'm trying to find out." Duran glanced at the sky, then back to Taurus. "We can't stay here. My shelter is about 2 kilometers east. Can you walk?" Taurus tried to stand, but her legs buckled. Duran moved quickly, catching her before she fell. "I'll help you," he said, "but your friend will need to let me." Rez had extended its defensive spines, sensing the stranger's proximity. Taurus stroked its head. "It's okay, Rez, he's helping." Slowly the spines retracted and Duran nodded in approval. Interesting symbiont, sensitive to energy signatures. Taurus looked at him in surprise. "How did you know?" "I've studied xenobiology. Come on, we need to move." With Duran's support, Taurus managed to walk. The thermal generator hung from his belt, providing a bubble of warmth that moved with them. Rez gradually uncurled from its defensive position, eyes fully open now, watching Duran with curious caution. The human's shelter turned out to be a small modular structure nestled between rock formations, almost invisible until they were right upon it. Inside was sparse but efficient: sleeping area, food preparation unit, communications array, and research equipment. "Sit," Duran directed, pointing to a folding chair. He adjusted the internal temperature, and the difference was immediate. Taurus felt her extremities tingling painfully as circulation returned. "You're traveling alone?" she asked as Duran prepared some kind of hot beverage. "Safer that way, smaller footprint." He handed her a steaming cup. "Nutrient broth, good for hypothermia." The liquid was bitter but warmed her from within. Rez perked up at the smell, and Taurus offered it a small sip. "Your symbiont, Rez, you called it," Duran observed. "It's not just decorative, is it?" Taurus hesitated, protective instincts flaring. Information about symbionts was closely guarded by the Lintari. Duran noticed her reluctance. "I'm not asking for trade secrets, but if you're going to travel with me, I need to know what I'm dealing with." "Travel with you," Taurus repeated. "Unless you have somewhere else to go." When she didn't answer, he continued, "I'm tracking the Frost Harvesters. They've hit 17 settlements in this quadrant alone. Always the same pattern: quick strike, no survivors, no apparent motive." "They left me," Taurus said quietly. "Exactly, and I want to know why they're suddenly getting sloppy." Duran leaned forward. "What makes your settlement different?" Before Taurus could answer, Rez began vibrating against her chest, its scales flashing warning patterns of red and gold. Duran's eyes widened. "Energy detection," he murmured. "It senses something." A soft beeping came from Duran's wrist device. He checked it, his expression darkening. Scanners picked up an approaching vessel. Could be them returning to sweep for survivors. Taurus felt cold fear return despite the warmth of the shelter. "What do we do?" Duran moved quickly, gathering equipment. "We need to go deeper. There are old mining tunnels beneath this region, pre-colonization, from when this was an extraction site." "How do you know so much about this planet?" Taurus asked, suspicion creeping into her voice. Duran paused, his back to her. "Because I used to work for the people hunting you." The admission hung in the air between them. Taurus stood shakily, ready to flee despite having nowhere to go. "I left them," Duran added, turning to face her. "When I realized what they were really doing, that's why I'm here to stop them." "Why should I trust you?" "You shouldn't," he said bluntly. "But right now, I'm your only chance at survival." Another alert sounded, more urgent this time. Duran cursed under his breath. "They're landing, decision time." Rez chirped and nudged Taurus's chin. The symbiont had always had good instincts about people. Its scales had shifted to a cautious amber rather than dangerous red. "Fine," Taurus said. "What's the plan?" Durin handed her a small pack. "Take this. Emergency rations, light, basic medical supplies. We're heading for the tunnels." They left the shelter through a hidden back exit. Durin pressed a small device to the shelter's exterior wall. "Remote destruction. It'll look like equipment failure, not a deliberate evacuation." The cold hit Taurus again, but not as severely. Durin had given her a proper insulated suit from his supplies. Rez nestled inside an inner pocket, only its eyes visible. They moved quickly across the rocky terrain. In the distance, Taurus could see lights descending from the clouds, the harvester's ship. Fear propelled her forward despite her exhaustion. "Here," Durin said finally, stopping at what appeared to be a natural crevice in the rock face. He activated a different device that projected blue light onto the stone. "Ancient access point. The original miners used quantum-locked entrances." The stone shimmered and then seemed to dissolve, revealing a dark passage beyond. "How do you have access to this technology?" Taurus asked. "Questions later," Durin replied, ushering her inside. "Right now we need to disappear." As they entered the tunnel, Taurus felt Rez vibrating with increasing intensity. The symbiont's eyes glowed in the darkness, all four focused on something deep within the passage. "Your friend senses something," Durin observed, activating a light. "What is it?" "I don't know," Taurus admitted. "But whatever's down there, Rez wants to find it." The tunnel entrance sealed behind them, plunging them into near darkness broken only by Durin's light and Rez's glowing eyes. Above, unseen through stone and ice, the frost harvesters began their search, while below, Taurus and Durin descended into the planet's ancient secrets, following the pull of something that had slumbered in the deep for far too long. The Forgotten Flames. The ancient tunnel stretched before them like a throat-swallowing light. Taurus followed Durin's careful footsteps, her hand resting protectively over the pocket where Rez vibrated with increasing intensity. The deeper they descended, the more agitated her symbiont became. "How far down do these tunnels go?" she asked, voice hushed despite being far from the surface where the frost harvesters would be searching. "According to the old extraction records, at least 15 levels," Durin replied, his scanner casting eerie blue shadows on the crystalline walls. "But we're heading for level 7. There's something there that might help us understand what they're really after." The air grew warmer as they descended, contrary to what Taurus expected. Strange luminescent fungi clung to the walls, providing ambient light that supplemented Durin's device. The architecture changed too, rough-hewn passages giving way to precision-cut corridors with symbols etched into the surfaces. "These aren't mining marks," Taurus observed, trailing her fingers over glyphs that seemed to pulse at her touch. "No," Durin agreed. "The original expeditionary force thought they were harvesting mineral deposits. What they actually found was something far more valuable and dangerous." Rez chirped sharply, eyes flashing bright patterns of warning. Ahead, the tunnel widened into a vast chamber. As they entered, automated systems sensed their presence, and ancient lights flickered to life. Taurus gasped. The chamber was enormous, a perfect dome carved from the planet's core. At its center stood a massive crystalline structure, pulsing with inner light. Around it, suspended in transparent containers, floated hundreds of creatures similar to Rez, though much larger and with more complex anatomies. "What is this place?" she whispered, horrified and fascinated. "A Genesis chamber," Durin said grimly. "The original inhabitants of this planet weren't miners, they were creators." He approached a control panel that remarkably still functioned after centuries of abandonment. With practiced movements, he activated a holographic display. Images formed in the air, diagrams of Rez's species, energy signatures, planetary maps. Your symbiont isn't just a companion species that evolved alongside the Lintari, Durin explained. They were engineered to detect, channel, and amplify energy sources. Living batteries, essentially. Taris pulled Rez from her pocket, cradling the creature protectively. That's impossible. The bond between Lintari and symbionts goes back thousands of years. Yes, but not on your homeworld. Durin's fingers danced across the controls, bringing up more images. Your ancestors were brought here as test subjects. The creators wanted to see if organic beings could safely bond with their engineered energy conduits. Rez chirped indignantly, as if understanding the conversation. Its scales flickered with patterns Taurus had never seen before. The experiment was successful, Durin continued. Too successful. The bond created a synergy that amplified the energy manipulation capabilities beyond what was predicted. When the creators realized what they had done, they tried to terminate the program. But our ancestors escaped, Taurus said, the pieces falling into place. The old stories speak of a great liberation, how we left the shackles of the ancient ones to find our own path. Exactly, and in their haste to contain their mistake, the creators sealed this facility, abandoning their research. Durin's expression darkened, until someone found records of it and realized what it could mean. The Frost Harvesters. They're just mercenaries working for a corporation called Helios Dynamics. They've been systematically eliminating Lintari settlements, harvesting specimens, trying to recreate the creator's work. A crash echoed from above, distant but unmistakable. Durin's scanner beeped urgently. "They've found the tunnel entrance," he said, voice tight. "We have maybe 20 minutes before they reach this level." Taurus looked around desperately. "What do we do?" Durin moved to another section of the control panel. "This facility has defense systems. If I can reactivate them." "You said you worked for them," Taurus interrupted. "How do I know this isn't a trap, that you haven't led them straight to this chamber?" Durin's hand stilled. For a moment, only the hum of ancient machinery filled the silence. "I was their head researcher," he admitted. "I found the first records of this place in an archaeological database. Thought I was pursuing pure science, understanding a lost civilization's technology." His voice hardened. "Then I saw what they did to the first settlement they raided. Experiments conducted on living subjects. Children separated from their symbionts, resulting in both dying in agony." He turned to face her. "I sabotaged their main research facility, destroyed their data, and ran. I've been trying to stay ahead of them ever since, warning settlements when I could. But I was too late for yours." Rez suddenly sprang from Taurus's hands, darting through the air to land on the central crystal. The moment it made contact, the entire structure blazed with light. Energy patterns rippled through the chamber, activating dormant systems. "Rez," Taurus cried out, moving toward the crystal. Durin caught her arm. "Wait, look." The holographic display had changed, showing a complete schematic of the facility. More importantly, it revealed 7 other life signs scattered throughout the lower levels. "Survivors," Taurus breathed, "from my settlement." "Must be," Durin confirmed. "The harvesters probably missed them during their initial sweep, just like they missed you." Another crash, closer this time. The sound of energy weapons discharging. "They're moving fast," Durin said. "We need to act now." Rez chirped from the crystal, its body elongating and merging partially with the structure. Information flooded the displays: access codes, security protocols, energy distribution networks. "Rez is interfacing with the system," Durin said, amazement evident in his voice. "It's giving us control." Taurus felt a new connection forming, different from her normal bond with Rez but unmistakably linked. Images flashed in her mind: corridors, security checkpoints, the layout of the entire facility. And with it, knowledge of how the systems worked. "I can see everything," she whispered. "I know what to do." She moved to the control panel with newfound confidence, fingers dancing across symbols that now made perfect sense. I'm activating the containment fields on levels 3 through 5. That will slow them down. Duran worked alongside her, his scientific knowledge complementing her intuitive understanding. If we reroute power from the stasis chambers to the defense grid, we can create a barrier that will buy us time to reach the survivors. As they worked, the sounds of pursuit grew closer. Displays showed the harvesters, 12 armed mercenaries in environmental suits, methodically working their way downward. They're using sonic disruptors on the security doors, Duran noted. We have maybe 10 minutes. Taris finished her sequence, and a ripple of energy pulsed through the facility. Containment fields active. I've also unlocked the path to the lower levels. We can reach the survivors through maintenance tunnels the harvesters won't know about. Rez detached from the crystal, scales glowing with absorbed energy as it returned to Taris. The connection to the facility remained, though less direct now. "What about the harvesters?" she asked. "Even if we reach the others, we're still trapped." Duran's lips curved in a grim smile. "Not necessarily." He activated a final sequence. "This facility has an emergency purge system designed to eliminate all organic matter if experiments went wrong. I've modified it to trigger only on the levels the harvesters are currently occupying." "You're going to kill them." Taris hadn't expected this from the scientist. "No, the system's lethal function is degraded after centuries of disuse, but it will release a paralytic gas and temporarily disable their equipment, enough for us to escape while they're incapacitated." Taris nodded, relief mingling with determination. "Let's go." They moved swiftly through the maintenance tunnels, Rez guiding them with its enhanced connection to the facility's systems. The survivors were huddled in an old storage area, 5 adults and 2 children, all Lintari. Their faces showed a mixture of fear and hope when Taris appeared. One of the adults, an older female with traditional face markings, stepped forward. "Taris, daughter of Lenos, we thought you were lost." "Elder Viren," Taris said, recognizing the settlement's historian. "We need to move quickly. The raiders are here." Brief explanations were exchanged as they guided the survivors through the tunnels. Above them, alarms blared as the purge system activated. On Duran's scanner, they watched as the harvester's signals became erratic, then stationary. "It worked," he confirmed, "but the effect won't last long." "Where are we going?" Elder Viren asked. "Down, then out," Duran said. "This facility has a secondary exit designed as an evacuation route. It leads to a network of caves that emerge 10 kilometers from here." As they descended to the lowest level, the architecture changed again, becoming more organic, as if the facility had grown rather than been built. The temperature rose noticeably. "What is this place?" one of the other survivors asked, voice hushed. "The heart of the facility," Duran explained. "The geothermal tap that powers everything." They entered a vast cavern where rivers of molten material flowed through transparent conduits. At the center stood a platform overlooking a lake of magma, with a bridge extending toward a distant opening. "The exit is across that bridge," Duran said, checking his scanner. "The harvesters are recovering. We have minutes at most." They moved onto the bridge, the heat intense even through their protective clothing. Halfway across, Rez suddenly chirped in alarm. Taris felt a surge of warning through their bond. "Something's wrong," she said, stopping. A moment later, the bridge shuddered. Behind them, a figure emerged onto the platform. Unlike the other mercenaries, this one wore distinctive armor marked with command insignia. "Duran," the figure called, voice amplified through external speakers. "Did you really think we wouldn't have contingencies for your interference?" Duran pushed the survivors forward. "Keep moving," he told them, then turned to face the newcomer. "Commander Hask, I should have known they'd send you." "The prodigal scientist," Hask replied. "You've led us on quite a chase, but now you've delivered exactly what we were looking for." He gestured toward Taurus and Rez, a fully synchronized pair and access to the Creator's technology. Taurus stood beside Durin. "I won't let you take Rez or any of us." Hask laughed. Brave words from a species about to become extinct. More harvesters appeared behind him, their weapons trained on the bridge. "Taurus," Durin said quietly, "when I move, take the others and run. Don't stop until you're out." "What are you going to do?" Instead of answering, Durin pulled a small device from his pocket. "Hey, Hask, you wanted the Creator's technology. Here's a sample." He threw the device onto the platform. It exploded in a flash of blinding light. In the confusion, Durin ran forward, tackling Hask while shouting, "Go!" Taurus hesitated for only a moment before ushering the survivors forward. Behind them, energy weapons discharged. The bridge shuddered again, sections beginning to collapse. "Faster," she urged, the exit now tantalizingly close. They reached the tunnel just as the bridge gave way completely. Taurus turned back, searching desperately for Durin. Through the chaos and smoke, she saw him still struggling with Hask on the platform, now cut off from both escape and reinforcements. "Durin," she called out. He looked up, meeting her eyes across the chasm. "Get them to safety," he shouted. "Find the other settlements, warn them." A section of the ceiling collapsed, obscuring her view. The last she saw was Durin activating something on his wrist device, a determined expression on his face. The tunnel shook as explosions echoed behind them. They ran, guided by Rez's energy sense, through winding passages that gradually sloped upward. After what seemed like hours, they emerged into the biting cold of the surface. The survivors huddled together, looking to Taurus for guidance. Rez, still glowing with energy from the facility, projected warmth that kept the worst of the cold at bay. "What now?" Elder Viren asked. Taurus looked across the frozen wasteland, toward distant mountains where, according to the facility's data, another Lintari settlement existed. "Now we fight back," she said. "Rez connected with the facility's database. We know where all the settlements are and we know what the harvesters are planning. We warn our people, we gather our strength, and we end this." "And Durin?" one of the children asked. Taurus knelt, placing a hand on the child's shoulder. "He gave us a chance. The best way to honor that is to use it." As if in response, Rez projected an image into their minds. Durin's smiling face, accompanied by coordinates and what appeared to be a meeting point. "He's alive," Taurus said, hope surging within her, "and he has a plan." The small group set off across the snow, no longer fleeing but moving with purpose. Above them, stars pierced the dark sky, distant but watchful. And within Taurus, a fire burned that not even the harshest cold could extinguish. The fire of resistance, of hope, of survival against impossible odds. Behind them, deep beneath the ice, ancient systems stirred fully awake for the first time in millennia. The Creator's work had been found, but not in the way the harvesters intended. And as the facility processed the recent events, it sent a signal, out beyond the atmosphere into the depths of space, where something ancient and powerful listened. And responded.